action.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Grunberg. We are EELT Consulting, and we are going to give you recommendations to improve the first shift performance. So under the current economic situation, the retail demand of freezers are increased by 20%. And according to our current market share, you can make a profit of 300,000 more freezers in the coming year. But however, there are certain obstacles in the production lines. And if you don't solve those problems, you will lose the profit of this many freezers. So we summed up to three main problems according to our surveys and research. The first one is ineffective training. Because when the Somali workers first entered the first shift, all their training and working guidelines are all in English. However, I guess this is the wrong slide. Yeah, however, most of them are illiterate, and even more of them have never been to a school before. And that means that the training they receive are actually meaningless because they couldn't understand it. So the training was ineffective. And the second problem is about the culture. In particular, their clothing habits or behavior they usually wear this kind of long and loose garments. And this kind of garments are getting tangled in machines very easily, which pose a threat to their safety. And other than clothing, under the culture, they also have a special, they also have a special gender perception that males should not take orders from females. And therefore, the female supervisors have difficulties to instruct their male workers. So, and then the last problem is about religion, because most of the Somali workers are actually Muslims, and they have to pray at 5 times every day, and these 5 specific times change every day. So the time do not usually collide with their break time. So they have to secretly go to the washroom and pray. And that causes a lot of chaos and problems. So, and all these 3 problems may seem minor at first, but in fact there's a serious consequence to that. Look at this schedule attainment chart and you will see that actually for the blue color bar charts, it's representing the first shift production schedule attainments, and it is significantly lower than the other shifts, which shows that they have a lot more late deliveries. And late deliveries actually means the company is not credible. And the company is neglecting the culture and religious and also safety problems of the workers also show that they are lacking their protection for their workers' rights. And all this leads to a common problem, which is a poor corporate image and reputation. Why is reputation so important for a company? As you know from this Samsung Galaxy Note 7 case, after their recalling for this model because of its dangerous and exploding features, their market share actually dropped by more than half. It is not just that they lose the profit from this specific model, but they lose their faith and trust in their consumers. And in fact, a research actually showed that most consumers avoid buying products if they have not enough trust in the company or they don't like the company. So it is very important to maintain your company's image and reputation. And so in order to help you to maintain a good reputation, we will continue to give you recommendations on that.
Thank you, Enoch. As Enoch explained earlier, Arctic Freezer currently faces problems due to inefficient training and lack of consideration for Somali culture and Somali religion. And we would like to address these problems by suggesting you 3 recommendations. To start with, from which one do you get a better message from? Left one or the right one? We will probably say right one. This proves the effectiveness of visual aids and potential for video training. However, Arctic Freezer currently fails to provide effective training to Somali workers because it fails to address their language barrier and it lacks in detail. Therefore, we propose you to create new training materials in more detail and in Somali language. By looking at an actual worker in Arctic Freezer work with these machines and listening to descriptions in Somali language, they will be able to learn about the working procedures and regulations much better. Creating new training materials might seem like an additional cost. However, the current Somali labor pool is very huge, and as factory expands, it is likely that RT Freezer hire more Somali workers. And training materials are also long-lasting. Therefore, creating new training materials would worth this cost. In addition, investing more money on creating training materials would be better than having late deliveries and fixing quality problems in products in future. This is our second recommendation. Our second recommendation is to separate male and female in the production line. We aim to enhance safety and productivity by considering Somali culture. According to their culture, Somali women have to cover their body in front of men. By separating the production line into male and female sections, Somali female workers would have to wear loose garments to cover their body in front of male workers. Therefore, it would enhance the safety by preventing their loose clothing from getting entangled in machine and causing safety problems. In addition to that, according to Somali culture, men are the ones who usually go out to work, and women usually support men in their house. Therefore, Somali male workers are reluctant to receive instructions from female supervisors. Therefore, by separating the production line, it would enhance the productivity because male workers would be more willing to accept instruction from male supervisors. Now I will pass on to Lucita to explain about our third recommendation.
Thirdly, we propose 2 recommendations to address the Muslim prayer custom for Somali workers. As a part of the religion, Somali workers have to pray at 5 times a day and also wash their hands and feet before praying. So therefore, our first recommendation is to combine regular breaks into a longer break for them to pray. So therefore, this can satisfy the needs for both workers and the management team. The workers can adhere to cultural practice, while the management team can have their workers work for the same amount of time, but with a high efficiency. We also encourage workers to use water hose outside. So many workers can use the water source outside to wash their hands and feet before praying. Therefore, it can reduce the safety hazard of producing a large amount of water on restroom floor. Spilling of waters outside also doesn't influence the safety in the production line. After talking about the recommendations, now let's consider, what do you want as the manager of Arctic Freezer? Gaining good reputation, as shown in this photo, workers and managers having a smiley face, joining hands together, or selling products that customers desire and gaining huge profits. However, none of these can be achieved easily. They require step-by-step progress. What does it mean by step-by-step progress? Because Rome was not built in a day. So as also the brand image, it won't be obtained in a day, but in a series of days of effort. Therefore, you have to take the action step by step. Now you have the vision, and also you have your goal. What you have to do now is to take baby steps to move forward, to move forward to your goal. We understand that you are now facing problems, the productivity problems, quality problems, and also safety problems. The important things for you to do is to find out which way will be the best way to overcome all of these difficulties. Always bear in mind, respect and care are the keys to getting the most from your employees. Your employees will be dedicated, and help your company to reach a new milestone with positive multicultural image. Therefore, we now provide you with the following actions to comply with our recommendations. And Tanya will continue with the details.
So how can we actually take actions? Let's take a look. First, about the video training scheme, we proposed that the company found this video making company to produce some professional training videos for the Somali workers. The videos would be made in Somali language and along with some easy to follow demonstrations. And the duration of the video training would be 1 week, which is longer than the company's usual practice. And more videos would be made, so we hope that this can enhance the training progress. And in order to engage the employees, we suggest that there are some discussion sections after each video is played, so that the employees would be split into groups and they can discuss related topics with their group mates, so that it can help them to review what they've learned in the videos and also to receive feedback, so they actually understand the key concepts mentioned in the videos. And second, about the separating the Somali workers by gender. For the temporary approach, we suggest using curtains to block the male and female workers. And for the long-term approach, once the productivity is increased to a satisfactory level, we would build a new production line so that the male can work in one line and the female at the other line. So the female will not need to wear their long clothing and workplace safety is ensured. And for these monthly reporting system, the workers would be assigned to supervisors based on the same gender, and the supervisors would report to the management team regarding the workers' productivity. And for the prayer time, we've noticed that the doer is the only prayer time that coincides with our working hour, so which is around 1:10 p.m. in North America. So we propose to combine the break time into a 30-minute break from 1 to 1:30 p.m. And we suggest the company to keep track of the changes in doer, so if it doesn't lie within this time range, then the break time will be adjusted, details will be posted on notice board, and also in the morning briefing section, there is announcement. And finally, for water hoses, we suggest finding this engineering company to build water hoses because they offer for the workers to cleanse their feet and foot and hands before praying. Because this company is quite, they offer a low price and their engineers are qualified and experienced in this kind of projects. And outdoor shade covers would be also constructed because in case of there's cool weather conditions, the workers will not get wet when they're praying, even when it's raining. And finally, some drainage systems will be built, so to facilitate the water flow and also to minimize the occurrence of slippery floor. And attached, please find this water works requirements that the construction work will need to fulfill. Thank you, that's all.
I have a couple questions. During the training discussion, it seems as if they're discussing in Somali, we'd have to hire a Somali teacher. Is that right?
So our long-term goal is to have a multicultural management team. It is necessary because current management team doesn't have any person who can speak Somali language, and some of them can speak in second language, but they speak in Spanish. So as the Somali labor pool is very huge currently, it's very needed to have a Somali person and a managed team. And that person can be in charge of dealing with Somali workers and lead the discussion as well during the training session.
Okay. Seems like it can be quite difficult to do all this. Why don't we just hire more Mexicans?
Due to immigration problems, there is a very huge labor pool in Somali, and that's why the third shift is currently comprised of mostly Somali people. I think that represents that workers in different nationalities are number of the people from different nationalities are very low compared to Somali workers in labor pool. So therefore, we believe that it is necessary to address the Somali workers problem.
And I think especially since we are talking about reputation, we cannot incorporate image, right? We cannot just hire one race or one just a small part of the people to
Okay.
get complaints.
Okay, thank you.